Breaking news in the hush money case, the judge, Juan Merchan, has announced that sentencing will be held until after the election, with the reasoning being what you would probably expect, a desire to not appear political. And I certainly have thoughts about that. I don't have surprise necessarily, because we've been worried that the judges would decide to do this entire time. And the longer they held off on everything and the more it got pushed back, the more appealing it would seem to just not provide the judgment when he's already been found guilty. But I want to give you just a quick quote from the judge. Says that he made the decision to avoid any appearance, however unwarranted, that the proceeding has been affected by or seeks to affect the approaching presidential election in which the defendant is a candidate. The decision would dispel any suggestion that the court handed down a sentence to either help or hurt a party or candidate, he wrote, adding that the court is apolitical. This is not a decision this court makes lightly, but it is the decision which is in this court's view best advances the interests of justice. Now, I am not a judge, I'm not even a lawyer, but I don't think any of that's accurate. What do you mean you don't want to benefit any candidate? Does it not benefit a candidate to not sentence him when he's already been found guilty? You are explicitly helping him in the run up to an election. And what does your problem become easier if he wins? You're gonna lock up the newly elected president of the United States? You will likely get no justice whatsoever if he wins. And this isn't even a case in which he can pardon it. But does anyone think that the judge is just gonna throw him in jail? This is insane to me. Again, it's not surprising, but it is insane. You should have wrapped this thing up a year ago. And this is definitely weighing in. He has already been found guilty by a jury of his peers. His voters should get to know what the consequences of that will be. And now they're being denied that. Now, Brett, I know you at least on some level disagree with me. What do you think?
Well, it depends on whose perspective you're saying this from. From the judge's perspective, yeah, it's like, I don't want to get into it. But he doesn't understand, or he does understand, and he's ignoring the fact that like the way to make it non-political is to ignore whether there's an election happening now at all.
Yes.
That's how most things happen. There's a version of this called the veil of ignorance in political philosophy. It's not explicitly about this, but it is like, if you're in a tough position, take your own position out of it, whether it's you that's making the decision or not, whether how your life would be, how, design a society based on where you're born into it, but just take yourself out of it. And pretend it's happening to someone else. Would you make that decision? In our entire legal system, the jury system is not political, period. This is not a tribunal. This is 100% just a trial. And he lost it. And he was convicted. He was found guilty. That is what happened, period. And so at least if you want to be fun, just say like, here's what I would have sentenced him to. And you could say that we're not going to sentence it. It's just like, I think it would be this many years. There's already guidelines for that kind of stuff. And it wouldn't be that much, I bet. Who knows? But it is a lot of felony convictions. And then the next question is, if he becomes president, could he even pardon this based on what court it occurred in?
Well, he can't, theoretically he cannot because of the state level proceeding, but who knows what the Supreme Court will say. And I will close with this. Again, Juan Merchan, sure, is a very intelligent person, probably thinks of himself as a clear thinker, a logical thinker. To say, I am not doing it during the election to avoid the appearance that the proceeding has been affected by the presidential election. I won't do it during the election because it hasn't been affected by the. You're making the decision because of the election.
It is affected by this election. The only fair way to do it. It is such a punt, a namby-pamby loser approach to say you're just so scared of your reputation, you're about to do something that sullies it irreparably.
When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?